Hello, welcome back to the next step of this Pigliacampo Numana accordion restoration. So I haven't been feeling that well recently, so I've been a bit have something going on, but I'm feeling a bit better now, so I've been cracking on. So what I've done is taken all the reeds out and I've revolved them. I've cleaned the reeds, checked the reeds, revolved them, I've re-waxed them back in. So I've done all three reed blocks. All looking nice and tidy, but I didn't really video it because I've done it before and I've kind of shown you or shown people how I do my waxing and volving and everything else, but that's all good. So they're all done, and what I want to do is put them back into the accordion and see if it has made any difference. So the first video, when I tested out the accordion, it sounded really rough and the valves sounded rough and all rattly and distorted and everything else. So now I'm hoping that when I put them back in, it will sound a lot better. It won't sound tuned completely, because when you do this kind of work on the reeds, as soon as you take the reeds out and put them in and revolve them, the acoustics will change slightly, so you have to then do some tuning. But the things that I was doing in terms of making sure I put the reeds back in the right way up, so I'd put a little mark on the outside edge of the outside pit of the reed, put a little scratch. So when I put them all in, they all came back and put back in the right way up. Making sure you put them in the right side of the reed block, and trying to keep everything consistent in terms of how much valve you're gluing, and so on. And so trying to keep everything as consistent as possible. And by doing that, you hopefully end up with less tuning to do at the end, because you're trying to keep it a bit as close as you can to what was done in the factory when it was first tuned. So that's the idea. So I haven't done any tuning. I will do that later, but I'll put them back in and we'll see if it's made any difference. I hope it does, because otherwise it will all be in a bit of a waste of time, and I'm hoping that it won't be a complete waste of time. So let's put them back in. So if I just go down a minute, I can just show you this. So number one, that goes in there. I always number them so that I know where they go. So that's number one. Number two, put number two in. Two, and see if we can fit number three in as well. Okay, that's all in, and just screw them down with a nice little screwdriver here. So just put that back in. So this is quite exciting really, because I don't know what they're going to sound like. Who knows? I'm hoping that they're going to sound good, but who knows? It could sound rubbish, but I don't think it will. Not after all that work put in, all that effort. There we go. Tighten those down. Sorry, this is probably not the most exciting part of the video. Anyway, but it is exciting to see what it's going to sound like. So, tighten that one up a little bit. There we go. There we are. So the reed blocks are back in. Let's get the bass side. Now the bass side hasn't been touched yet, so that's going to still sound exactly as it was. So let's get the there we are. Let's get that back on. And I've got my little thing. Remember that, so I know which pin comes out of which. Really important on accordions, particularly I find with Italian ones, because they can vary a bit. So really important to get the right pin into the right hole, because you kind of get used to that pin, and if you start swapping around, you're going to have to start pushing them in a bit harder, making the holes a bit bigger, or maybe making the holes a bit smaller, and you'll find that it just causes problems. So again, it's all about being accurate really and consistent. So let's get these pins in. There we go. I'll just get my little pin pusher inner tool. Oh, this is my pin pushing tool, kind of flat edged nippers if you like. Really handy for that. Okay, so this is a moment of truth. So let's get this lovely Pigliacampo going again. So I haven't tuned anything. Put them back in. I've no idea, but I'm hoping it will sound quite a lot better. So I'm not going to play anything on the bass side just from this. So let's go for the 2 reeds. Okay, I'm really pleased with that. That is almost playable. It is not tuned properly, but the actual tone and the lack of distortion and flappiness to the sound is 100% better than the first video, which is really nice. So let's bring in the low reed. That's 2 reeds, 2 middle reeds. Let's bring in the low reed, and it should give you that kind of edge, that kind of almost kind of like what would you call it? Like a kind of South American kind of tango kind of. Okay, so actually it sounds great. It's not tuned, but I just think it sounds really nice. So I think it's going to be a lovely accordion when it's tuned up. I think it's going to be really, really, really nice. So next step is to tune it. Now, this is where I'll show you, talk about how I'm going to tune it. So, let's go this way. So, on the reed blocks, you've got 2 middle reeds, and they're either side of a reed block, and you've got a low reed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mask off, first of all, one of the middle reeds. So I work out which reed I'm going to mask off, and I'm going to keep the reed that's tuned to pitch, the reed set tuned to pitch, and I'm going to mask off the second reed set, middle reed set, with a bit of tape on the bottom of the reed block, tune that to pitch, and then I'll play both of the reeds together, and then I will tune the tremolo according to my tremolo tuning pattern. And then to do the low reed, I will mask off both of the middle reeds on the reed blocks with the electrical tape, and then I can just be hearing the low reed on its own, and I'll tune that to pitch. Now when you tune it to pitch, a standard pitch is A440, so A 440 hertz for the A, but sometimes it can be different. It can be 442, it can be higher or a bit lower. So when I start tuning this, I'll work out by using my tuner on my laptop what pitch has been tuned to start with, whether it's A440 or whether it's A442 or something different, because that's really important. Because in the factory, if they've tuned it to A442, for example, then now I want to keep it A442, otherwise I'm going to be a lot of flattening of reeds, and it will just, the more you attempt to tune reeds, the more risk with of damaging them and changing the sound. So I'll find out what it was tuned to in the factory, and then use that as my kind of baseline for the rest of the tuning. So this is just like an update now. So I'm really happy with the progress. So on the next video, I'll get the reed blocks out, and I'll demonstrate how to isolate the reeds that you want to isolate so that you can tune, and then get the treble side really, really nicely tuned. And once I've done all of that, I'll have a look at the bass side, get all the bass side reeds out, clean them up, revalve them, rewax them, and I'll start tuning them. And then this lovely Italian accordion will be singing a lot better. So I hope you'd enjoy the video, and the next one I'll start tuning the treble side reeds.